Hello everyone. Today I will be going over how to perform the quadrant streak method. We will need a flint striker or a lighter with a long nozzle in order to light the Bunsen burner, which will be at the center of our working area to prevent any airborne microorganisms from falling onto the working plate. The metal inoculating loop comes in different sizes and will be dipped into our culture solution to be able to streak our bacterial culture on an agar plate. We want to make sure we are working with the correct bacterial strain. For this research, we used the Acinetobacter radioresistens 50V1 culture solution. Before we get started, let's review on some precautions to take while working with an open flame. We want to make sure there are no holes or leaks in the hose connected to the main gas line. It is important to remove all flammable chemicals away from the area of the flame. Proper PPE includes lab coat, gloves, and goggles, as well as tying back any long hair and loose jewelry. Never reach over the flame, nor leave the flame unattended. Once you are done with use, you must shut off the gas line. It is always very important to know where the nearest fire extinguisher is located in the case of an emergency. We must be wearing proper PPE, which includes safety gloves, lab coat, safety goggles, or safety glasses. Since we are working with the gas line, we want to make sure that there are no holes in the gas line itself and that it is connected to the Bunsen burner. We want to move the Bunsen burner into a clear open space, away from any flammable items, fluids, and we want to make sure that although we are keeping our solutions nearby to avoid contamination, we want to keep them at a safe distance from the flame itself. Before we continue, let's go over some of the precautions to take when working with bacterial strains. It is important to wash your hands before and after working with microorganisms to remove any surface level bacteria. Also keep in mind to avoid putting your hand on your eyes, nose, or mouth. All materials used for culturing microorganisms are sterilized by autoclaving. Do not eat or drink in the lab. This also includes not storing any food items where microorganisms are being stored. Lastly, it is important to label everything clearly so other lab personnel also know what hazards are around them. Let's first review how to perform the quadrant streak method on an agar plate itself. We will go over with the Sharpie. First, we want to perform 3 to 4 lines in one quadrant. We will then rotate the plate, and from the edge of the first 3 lines, we can drag it out onto the second quadrant. Rotating the plate once more, we will do the same and drag it out across 3 lines. For the last quadrant, we will go across and down the middle. Now we are ready to perform the quadrant streak method on an agar plate itself. Let's go ahead and first sterilize the inoculating loop. Keep in mind, whatever container you have your culture solution in, there are different size inoculating metal loops. Please be mindful in choosing the one that best fits. To first sterilize the metal inoculating loop, we will place it into the flame until the entire loop turns an orange color from the heat. We will then remove it and let it cool before dipping it into our culture solution. We must keep in mind that the role of the Bunsen burner to be at the center of the working area is to prevent any airborne microorganisms from falling onto the working plate. Once the metal inoculating tube has been cooled down, we can go ahead and dip it into our culture solution. I have here the Acinetobacter radioresistens 50V1 culture solution that has been thawed. I can go ahead and dip my inoculating tube into the solution, and once I take it out, I should see a clear film over the inoculating loop. This indicates that the solution is on the loop itself, and I can go ahead and begin to streak my plate. I will keep in mind where I will be placing the first streaks, as this will be my first quadrant. Carefully streak 3 to 4 lines across one direction. After I have done my first 3 streaks, I will place the inoculating tube back into the flame until I see the orange color around the loop. I will wait for it to cool down before moving on to my second quadrant and begin to streak again. Once we are finished, we want to make sure that we place the lid back onto the agar plate and flip the agar plate where the lid is on the bottom side. We then want to get pieces of parafilm to make sure that it is completely sealed. Please notice how the Bunsen burner is still on through this entire process, but we are still keeping a safe distance from the flame itself. Now that we have our sealed agar plates, we can go ahead and place them in an incubator. We want to make sure that the agar is on top while the lid is on the bottom. For the purpose of my experiment, I will be incubating this agar plate at 28 degrees Celsius. Here are some examples of how the agar plates will look once you have finished incubating them at the appropriate temperature. It is important to note what will affect colony size. In this case, the bacterial strain you decide to work with will vary in size after it has finished incubation. Taking it out prior or taking it out later in the incubation period will also vary the colony size. Hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching.